First he won bronze, and then he met Titus. Welcome back to my 3-part series with Paralympic medalist Evan Wilkerson. Last week, Evan mentioned the critical break he took from swimming in August. It was for intensive guide dog training. And this week, Evan introduces us to his new partner, Titus. He shares the incredible journey of building a bond in just 25 days, navigating the massive New York City subway system, and adapting to campus life. Plus, he issues a critical safety warning that every pet owner must hear about service dog etiquette. You'll never see partnership and responsibility the same way. Let's dive into part 2 of my conversation with Evan. In the last episode, you mentioned that you had gotten a guide dog and taken a break over the summer. Tell us, who is your dog? Name, how did you meet? and let's just kind of start walking through that.
Of course. So I went through a guide dog school called the Seeing Eye. It's the oldest guide dog school in the world. Their training is fantastic. They're just an amazing school. Highly recommend if you're looking into getting a guide dog. But so my guide dog's name is Titus. She's a golden retriever. I had no idea, this was going to be a dog I was going to be matched with until, my instructor on the third day class walked in my room and said, this is your dog. She's a golden retriever. We're going to leave you alone for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to go do a route. And I was like, okay, they are throwing us off the deep end. But we ended up bonding very quickly. The whole training process went really well. We started off small, just doing street crossings. Then we kind of graduated to doing a route in a city with some outdoor seating and street crossings, and then we went on a much longer route with roundabouts, outdoor seating, stuff in the sidewalks, strange turns in sidewalks, all that type of stuff. And then after we'd done more city routes, we started doing what we called freelance, so working in environments that you're actually going to work the dog. So for me, we did a gym, a pool, we did some college-esque environments. And then, of course, there's still some basic things that you want to know how to do, like revolving doors and just kind of general things like that. Really maze-like buildings. We did a courthouse up there just to know kind of how the dog's going to cue turns and stairs and all that type of stuff as well. So that training lasted about 25 days. Towards the end, we went to New York City. We went from the bus station, took the subway up to Central Park, and then we went from Central Park all the way back down through Times Square, along Broadway, down to where we started at. And I think if I had to say a moment where I really became confident in the abilities of Titus as a guide dog, it was that trip, because we really had no issues. She got a little distracted by some pigeons at first, but once she got used to those, and I had kind of corrected a couple times, we were set. We were kind of cruising through New York. Not an environment a lot of blind people can figure out how to navigate, but we figured that one out.
When you were in New York, so this is an area you're not familiar with yourself. Did you have like someone that was trailing you or giving you directions to know where you're going?
Oh, of course. Yes. So the instructors walk with us while we're doing our guide dog trips, just because, when, we didn't start in New York, of course. We were up in New Jersey for our first little bit, but or for the vast majority of it. But the instructor was always there just to kind of give us advice, make sure we're going the right way, let us know kind of what we should be correcting and what we shouldn't. All that type of stuff as well.
You're still in those early months of working together. How easy is it for you to navigate the college campus now? Because this was a new territory for you.
I can turn my brain off and it's automatic. It is so nice. I have the harness and the leash in my left hand. I can be walking and talking to someone and be aware of just my left hand. I don't have to have a cane sweeping. I don't have to think about that. If she does something that I know is definitely wrong, I know how to correct and stay focused on what I'm doing. And then she learns a lot of my routes as well. So I'm still having to navigate, of course, but it's nothing like with a cane where you have to be aware of every bump in the road, every twist and turn of the sidewalk. I just have to know generally where I want to get to and give her those very basic directions, and she gets me there.
And is she able to tell you if there is a trip hazard on the sidewalk?
Yes. So she will stop for anything that could be a hazard to me if she doesn't see a way around it. So low-hanging tree branch, she'll go around. Cord going all the way across the sidewalk, she'll stop. And sometimes she'll kind of look at it, and I can feel where she's looking. And then I just reach my foot out to see what it is. Once I find it, I can kind of figure out, okay, should we go around or should we just step over? And then, once we're done with whatever that process happens to be, we just continue on our way.
Nice. So I have to ask you, because you're the expert now on this. I just saw a clip that Molly Burke had posted. She's crossing the street, and there's a car that's stopped on the crosswalk. And so she's standing there with her dog, and she's telling the driver, "I'm blind, and I can't go across." What have they told you? What do you do in that situation? So the car's blocking the crosswalk completely.
If the car's blocking the crosswalk, typically what I would do is, I'm going to realize, okay, there's a car. She's stopping for this. I'm going to, tell her to continue. I'm more than likely going to point her in the direction of the back of the car.
Okay.
So that I'm not walking into the parallel traffic.
Yeah, because I'm thinking then you're walking into traffic.
Right. So if you go towards the back of the car, you just circle around, get back on the crosswalk. I'll tell her straight, and that means, get me out of the street. She'll find wherever the up curb is, truncated domes, whatever it happens to be. And, it's a very simple, very smooth process.
Okay. Yeah, because in the clip, Molly's telling her to back up, and the driver backs up, and then there's another car that's blocking the way. And so she's facing the same thing again.
Right.
And I was curious about that.
That just creates issues.
And I think drivers are not, it doesn't even cross their mind.
Right.
Because they're assuming that anyone that's in the crosswalk will just walk in front of the car and they'll be fine. But you can't do that if you can't tell how far forward they are.
Exactly.
Or where the left turn traffic is coming from that might be coming across it. So that's a smart thing to do. Okay, so let me get back to where my course of thought was here. Because I'm completely going off on tangents now. Oh, on campus, are you having any trouble with students that don't understand this is a working dog?
Not really. Especially a lot of my teammates know. I talk to all of them fairly early on being here. And then I'm a very fast walker. And so if they want to catch up to try and pet her, good luck. And then she will also see a lot of people as obstacles to be avoided. And so she'll circle around them and, we'll just keep going like nothing happened. But truthfully, no, we really haven't had any sort of issue with people wanting to pet her. That's a different story if I just tie her down somewhere while I'm doing something. But when she's with me, no, we have no issues.
So when you're training, where is she? So
I have her a crate on the side of the pool, just on the pool deck with, I have her a nice bed and stuff in there. Where, while I'm training and working hard, that's her nap time for her to kind of recharge because it's a bit of a walk over to the pool, especially for her. And it's a good time for her to relax and, the mornings kind of get those last few minutes of sleep. And in the evenings, kind of rest up before we have to walk back, go to dinner, do whatever I'm doing in the evening, all that type of stuff.
So you're just keeping the crate there at the pool?
Yes.
Nice. I'm glad they're able to work with you with that. All right, so last question for this section. What would you tell other visually impaired students that are considering a guide dog?
It's not for everyone. If you can't be responsible and have a routine and be willing to take care of another living creature, don't do it. I think a lot of people overlook the responsibility. They overlook a lot of just the general care, a lot of the financial cost that goes into it. And, If you're not willing to do any of those things, don't get a guide dog, because then, you're just going to start resenting the dog. I think another thing I would say is don't expect the dog to do everything for you. You are still in charge of navigating. I think a big misconception is you just tell the dog, all right, we're going to Walmart. And the dog knows exactly where Walmart is. It's got a built-in GPS, and it's just cruising its way down the street. You have to know the route and know, the dog's going to make mistakes, and you have to be aware, because a lot of those mistakes aren't little. They could be, potentially really bad. And so you need to be aware of where you are, what the dog's doing, and make sure the dog isn't being distracted.
All right, and then I do have one more question. If listeners have dogs themselves and they come across someone that's using a guide dog, what would you tell them? Like, how should they treat their dog to keep the guide dog safe?
Control your dog. I always carry a cane for this purpose. A lot of people are terrible at controlling their dogs. I have gotten in situations where I have had to pull out my cane and be ready to beat another dog to get them to stop attacking my dog. Because owners think, oh, they're just being friendly. No, they're not being friendly. They're growling and foaming at the mouth. Get them away from my dog, or we're going to have issues. So the biggest thing is be aware of what your dog is doing. Be aware of other dogs around you. And if you see a guide dog and you have your dog with you, cross the street and be out of the way.
I asked that question because I don't know how many people realize that one interaction could ruin a guide dog's whole career.
Absolutely.
And that is a huge danger for not just the dog, but for their handler as well.
Of course.
Evan and Titus are a powerful team, showing us what it means to be all in on responsibility and partnership. That profound commitment is exactly what we'll explore next week as Evan dives into the realities of his first semester. We'll find out how he's adapting to college life, which disability services he's utilizing, and which ones he's skipping, and the roadmap for his future Paralympic swimming plans. If you're parenting a teen navigating challenges or heading toward independence, this final conversation is essential. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell. Next week, we're sharing real-world advice from a medalist about navigating college with a disability. I'll see you next time.